What if Crath was funny?
Hey, hi, hello, welcome to the show. This is Jello Biafra. He's the singer of the Dead Kennedys. He also owns the indie label Alternative Tentacles. This video isn't about him, directly. This video is about one of his most frequent collaborators and the creator of the world-famous DK logo. You may not know his name, but you definitely know his work. This video is about the collage surrealist Winston Smith. If we're going to talk about people that are responsible for creating the visual identity of punk rock, we'd be fools not to discuss the endlessly influential work of Winston Smith. I'm not saying he's the first to do collage art for punk rock flyers and album covers, not by a long shot, but he certainly has elevated the art form to be more eye-catching, provocative, and engaging. This is the album cover for In God We Trust Incorporated by the Dead Kennedys. Jello said when he first saw this piece, he knew it would be a great album cover. The only problem was the album didn't exist yet. So he set out to record the album. Winston Smith's work was dangerous enough to inspire the 13-minute EP Held Within. The image? A golden Jesus on a cross made of dollar bills. As relevant and as poignant today as it was in 1981. As is the music. The artwork came before the music, and to me, I find that so interesting. This first encounter between Jello and Winston would be the first among thousands. Before linking up with the Dead Kennedys, Winston would make flyers for made-up shows. He'd make up the bands, he'd make up the venues, he'd make up everything and just make these posters. And not only would he make these posters, he would plaster them all over town. So the town would be filled with fictitious posters advertising fictitious bands to venues and locations and streets that don't even exist. Well, the problem was his artwork was so engaging and so eye-catching that people would actually try to go to these shows, and Winston Smith would be put in this really awkward position where he'd have to say something like, I don't know, the band must have moved locations or something, or they must have broken up, or I'm not sure really. They just commissioned the poster from me. All the while, none of these things were true. Stay tuned to the end of this video and I'll show you a bunch of these fake show posters. With that first album cover out of the way, let's look at Winston's biggest contribution to punk culture, the Dead Kennedys DK logo itself. Watch this video over here if you want to hear them talk about it, if you want. Essentially, Jello wanted something to be simple and striking, something that could be graffitied easily by punks in venues and bathrooms across the nation. He said he wanted something like the swastika. His words, not mine. Thus, Winston began sketching lines and arranging toothpicks into shapes. With 4 toothpicks, he made the shape of an X. And you know if you throw a stick at the beginning and in the middle of that X, you got that DK. Memorable and easily spreadable iconography. Most every battle jacket I have ever seen has this patch of this logo on it. Whether the punk or the metalhead likes the band or not, this patch makes the vest. It's right up there with the Misfits, Bad Religion, and Metallica patches of the world. What started as a simple series of meaningless toothpicks now carries a message to millions of people. The DK logo is bigger than Jello, Winston, or the Dead Kennedys themselves. When an alien race digs through the rubble of this planet 10,000 years from now, they will see Winston Smith's work. That's rarefied air for any artist. So like, big congratulations to him. Or whatever. I don't know. Winston's work for the 1986 DK album Bedtime for Democracy is not a collage. It's an illustration that feels like a collage. It's an elaborate political cartoon, to be more specific. I'm not gonna go through every element, but it satirizes and comments on topics like fascism, consumerism, corruption, corporate greed, sexuality, patriotism, religion, race and racism, the media, and so on and so on. You get it. It's a wonderful piece, and for a guy mostly known for his surreal collages, this illustration stands out in his portfolio like a sore thumb. A beautiful sore thumb. Now, let's go back to 1982 for a moment. Winston was asked by Jello to make another logo. This time he'd be tasked to make the emblem for Jello's record label, Alternative Tentacles. Winston thought it was going to be a one-time thing. He was wrong. Jello used this bat on everything. Admittedly, it's not as classic as the DK logo, but it has endured the test of time alongside the DK logo. What Winston came up with was this bat. This bat was a modified version of a character he created in grade 4 called the Maquinus. To be honest, I can't really pronounce the name of the character because I didn't understand a word of what he said.
Both of you know I cannot read a word.
Here's Winston himself telling us the name of this bat. Pay close attention because I want you to tell me what he's saying.
We call them Maquinis.
Maquinus?
We call them Maquinis.
I don't know, dude. Is that a thing? He didn't only work with Jello and the Dead Kennedys. He's done notable work for Green Day, Ben Harper, George Carlin, among many, many others. Let's take a look at the art for Green Day's 1995 album, Insomniac. What we see on the record is a cropped and sanitized version of the original. Let's pan out a bit here and see the full message the artist intended. Winston laid out this piece in his classic surrealist collage style in a way that is truly distinct to himself. When we zoom out, the image becomes morbid and political. It depicts a woman holding a gun to a sleeping man's head, a praying Abraham Lincoln in Uncle Sam's outfit, science fiction surgery, and monkeys performing circus tricks. This image is a little too in your face for a mainstream album, but the fact that this collage is cropped kind of adds to the overall message to me, and it's even a little bit ironic. That artwork that was made by cutting things up was ultimately cut up. Or maybe I'm just finding meaning in there where there is none. I don't know. Either way, this is one of my favorite images of his. Or perhaps my 90s bias is peeking out a little bit. 11 years later, in 2006, he did a cover for Ben Harper and Relentless Seven's White Lies for Dark Times. His style is immediately recognizable. He shows us a sketch of a country home in broad daylight, juxtaposed by the same house, but this time during a lightning storm. Again, there is meaning packed into every inch of this piece, but I'll let you interpret it for yourself. We see two red dye with sevens on every side, a crossroads where the sign reads, White Lies Meet Dark Times, bubbles, earth, tubes, all enclosed with a bike chain border and a pen and nib resting on the left-hand side. I know what I see when I look at this picture, but I'm interested in what you see. 2001, George Carlin, Complaints and Grievances. If Winston was stepping outside of the music sphere to work with anyone, George Carlin is about as perfect of a candidate as you can get. George's comedy was packed with meaning and nuance, just like Winston's art. The piece itself shows Carlin literally getting screwed as reptiles and concern trolls look on. This is the cartoonification of Winston's collage style, but it works so well here in my opinion. It's still dark and foreboding, but mostly it's pretty funny. And balancing those moods and motifs is tricky for any artist, let alone a collagist who has to find images and then cut them up to then make the image. To this day, Winston is working with Jello and Alternative Tentacles while also staying very busy in his own studio. He's active on Instagram where you can keep up with him there. It's surreal to me that the surrealist who designed the DK logo is a public social media account that you could just follow. So go show him some love and tell him Dan Frampton sent you. Speaking of his Instagram, here it is right here. Winston Smith Art. And if you like that punk rock collage style stuff, he is still going, he is still posting, he is still active out there in the community. And I think that that is so fucking cool. But what I also find cool are all these fake posters that got him started in the scene. The infidels. Have you seen this cat? Because he is awesome. Meet the clones. These flyers are superb. If I saw these on the street, I'd want to go to the shows too. And honestly, I can see why they're so inspiring and iconic because they make me want to start cutting up old wrestling magazines just to make some new art out of. You got the contractions over here at the shelter, the clip-ons over here at Room 101, the rejects live at Nico's. None of these things are real, and I want to go to all of these shows. Oh, by the way, this is all on a Vice article called False Punks. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Hit like, press subscribe, come back for the live streams. Until my next upload, goodbye, see you later, and have a good one.